Hey, everybody. It's Baruti Carl Alexander, and we are on Sportstake Live. This is the 32nd episode. We've been doing this a while. We do it twice a month, and we catch up with the most relevant things that are happening. What are some of the most relevant things happening? We have college football that's going on. We have college basketball that's just starting. And we have the NFL. My first question, Brother Darrell, has the Texans totally lost their fire? Are they one of the best teams? What is going on? They have been losing. They're 7-5. I don't know. I think the league is caught up with them. I mean, the new regime just been there 2 years, and they have now studied them. They are paying attention to what they're doing, and they have caught up, and they know what they're going to do. So, and the Texans have not adjusted. What you say, Darryl?
I would agree with that. That just kind of that sophomore season, when now we know what you're doing, both you as a quarterback and you and your coach, and you guys not making adjustments. I think the same thing with Washington and the Redskins. They've caught didn't have film, didn't have footage before, but now we have footage. Now we know what you're going to do, and the teams aren't making adjustments. They're not evolving.
I totally agree with it, and I see that. And now we'll see how good those players and the coaches are. Phil, what you say about that?
Well, I mean, the Commanders are still in the first year organization with the new coach and the new staff, new quarterback. They just, and he's a rookie. So that's a change that's hard for any rookie to get acclimated to the NFL, the speed, the timing of everything. He's had some great games, and he's had a few games that he's a rookie. But if the Texans are concerned, I mean, you guys have touched on some good points, but I just think they need to show up on what they already do well. And then the injuries didn't help. But
right. At
the same time, they got to look in the mirror at each other, the guy they're playing next to, and just toughen up their gear and do better. I mean, they got everything they need, but I mean, they have been weakened by the injuries, but not an excuse to play the way they're playing. So, of course, CJ is not playing as well as he was last year, but I still believe in him. Still believe he's one of the top new quarterbacks in the league that's going to make it happen. But Jaden Daniels is really, really an exceptional talent too. So, but the Commanders are they still got a chance to control their own destiny. It's up to them. Same with the Texans.
Yes, I see that too. And they are young. Mr. President, Jeff, what you say?
Well, I agree with Phil, what he said about Washington. In reference to the Houston Texans, you have to understand the NBA season, the NFL season is a long season. You're talking about 18 weeks, 17 games for each team, and you have ups and downs. And most teams are going to have ups and downs, especially when you have a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback. In this case, also a second-year head coach. You're going to have situations where you're going to have ups and downs, and they've had their ups and they've had their downs. And I think now they're in a process of now bringing it back up. They have 5 games left. I think they have enough time to get it together and regroup and be able to go ahead and make the necessary adjustments in order for them to go ahead and be successful in the playoffs. Now, do I think that they're going to be a Super Bowl contender? No, they're not a Super Bowl contender. Do I think that they are even an AFC title game contender? No. They're not an NFC title game contender. But I think that they are good enough to maybe perhaps win one game in the playoffs, get to the second round. I think they can at least do that. You have to understand, C.J. Stroud is a young quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. Every young quarterback makes mistakes. No young quarterback comes in and it's just smooth sailing from year 1, year 2, year 3, just smooth sailing. Every young quarterback has to hit that wall, and he's kind of hit a wall, and he'll get over that wall. He has the intestinal fortitude to be able to get over the wall. He has the necessary coaching to be able to get over that wall, and I think that he will. He will. They got 5 games to play, and I think they'll get it together. And I think of course, they're going to win the division. They will be the 4th seed in the AFC, and I think they will go on and win the first round game, and I think they'll probably lose in round 2.
It's according to who they play in the first round game. If they play Baltimore or Pittsburgh or even Buffalo, I think they won't win. 3 of those losses are the Bears-Detroit division. They lost to Detroit, a game that they should have won. They should have, in my opinion, have beaten Green Bay. And is debatable. They played the other game against the Vikings. The Vikings kind of taught them a lesson, but they should have only had 2 losses, in my opinion. But the coaches didn't make adjustments. They made mistakes, and the sure-footed Fairbairn, he missed several field goals that hurt them. So, yeah, I mean, but that's how the NFL goes, and we'll see if they make some adjustments and kind of finish out the year in the best way possible. Darryl, as far as the NFL, who has surprised you, and who do you think? Let's go ahead with who is going to be at the top of who's going to make the playoffs in the AFC and in the NFC? Who has surprised you, and who is going to make the playoffs?
NFC, Minnesota, Detroit are surprising to me. I mean, Detroit had a great season last year, but still to almost just lose just the 1 game. Minnesota with their changes, changing quarterback Sam Darnold, that's surprising. And, then you look at the AFC, I think, I'm a Pittsburgh fan. I know we're talking Houston and all that, but I'm a Pittsburgh fan. So to see Russell Wilson do well with the Steelers, I think is great. I think they will go a long way. Even watching Kansas City today, and I like that they always know how to win, but just for all their games being so close is concerning. And then, of course, they've had injuries. So this year, the injuries have been tremendous throughout the league. Everybody's suffering with injuries. And so that's kind of my thought on the playoffs there.
I want to mention I'm favoring in the AFC, Baltimore going to get all the way. In the NFC, I did pick Detroit, but now I'm going back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is playing strong. They only got 2 losses, and Jalen Hurts is getting up that head of steam, in my opinion, to kind of take them over. But again, it depends on where they play. If they play Detroit in that championship game, that's going to be a rough road for them to go. But I think Philadelphia can beat them. Jeff, what do you think about how the NFL is going?
Basically, I think all the perennial teams are doing what we thought they were going to do. Buffalo's doing what we thought they were going to do. Steelers are doing what we thought they were going to do. The Ravens, the KC Chiefs, they 10-1. Well, we thought they would be doing about that. The Chargers. Right now, I have the teams in the AFC that's going to be in the playoffs. I have the Buffalo Bills, the Steelers. I have the Raiders. I have Houston. I have the Chiefs. I have the Chargers.
Ravens, not the Raiders. My fault.
Ravens. And then I have the Denver Broncos. Those are my 7 teams in the AFC. Then over in the NFC, I have Philly. Philly's playing some good ball, but 9-2. Saquon Barkley leading the league in rushing over 13, right at 1,400 yards with 5 games left. Wow, that guy, he's got a chance to get to 2,000 yards. Wow, Houston almost had him. Remember the Texans were flirting with him in the offseason? Houston, they almost had him. But I think he really wanted to stay on the West Coast, on the East Coast. So anyway, it came down to a bidding war. But I think he really wanted to stay on the West Coast, on the East Coast. But anyway, he leads the league in rushing with 1,392 yards. And then, of course, your boy Derrick Henry at 1,325 yards. But anyway, Philly, I got them at number 2 seed behind Detroit at 11-1. And then I have Washington, 75. I think they'll make it as a wild card. I got the Vikings as a wild card. I got the Packers as a wild card. And the Falcons, I got them winning the division. But now over in the West, it's getting interesting because at one point it looked like Arizona was going to run away with it, but all of a sudden Seattle now, this guy is coming on. Seattle is now tied with Arizona at 6-5 now. So it's going to be interesting. And the Rams on 1 game back. So all of a sudden that division is now getting heated up. So it should be very interesting. But those are the teams that I have on the AFC as well as the NFC.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Phil, give me your opinion. Chime in. 1 second. Chime in on these firings. The Giants coach got fired and the Bears coach just got fired. Now, as far as the Giants, I think that they should go after Davis Mills to be their quarterback. I think they'll be better with Davis Mills. That's an inside joke, Darryl. But go ahead, Phil.
Okay, well, I don't think the Giants coach really deserved to be fired. Maybe the general manager for sure, because he displayed some real disrespectful ideas in the offseason when they had him on
Right.
Hard Knocks, talking about Saquon. That was no excuse. Of course, Chicago coach, I mean, I've seen other coaches get fired for a lot less. That's not surprising. But now I'll summarize this real quickly for us the playoffs. In the NFC, it's only two teams I think going to come out of there, and that's probably going to be Philly or Detroit. One of them two. And then in the AFC, it'll be either Buffalo or KC. Now, some other teams could do some things surprisingly by getting in, and once you're in, anything's possible. But just from what I see, those four teams are the teams you should look at for your potential Super Bowl, conference championships, what have you. But all the other stuff is ancillary leading up to it. It's going to be fun to watch. Football is football, but anything's possible. People get hurt, and as you can see, coaches get fired. But of those four teams, that's not happening anytime soon for us coaches and administrative stuff, because they already structured to win and they planned it right. They're doing it right, and it shows. So let's just see.
I just watched the Colorado Buffaloes run up 52. College football is still a prominent sport. I thought it was going to get hurt and become lessened by the NIL things and so forth. But hey, it's still exciting. Now, I think Colorado got something to do with that. But then you got these tradition, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Notre Dame. The state of college football is still good, and they'll be working it out under these new rules and things. But the new rules are affecting them because they got the portal, they got all of these changes, and the kids want to get paid. Darryl, what you think about that? We talk about that a lot on this show.
I think the kids should get paid. I think that the one thing, in fact, I met a young guy earlier this year, big guy, and I said, man, where do you go to school? And he's a football player, so he was offensive line. And I said, well, make sure wherever you choose to go to school, it's good for teams to be looking at you, but you also be looking at the schools and make sure they have the major that you want in case, because professional athlete isn't guaranteed. So what do you really want to be when you grow up? So you make sure that exchange for your talent versus education, that you get the education that you want. And I think sometimes the kids miss that part. And I mean, you got these kids now that have been in college 6 years, 7, 8 years. And it's like, okay, so what kind of degrees do you have? What kind of classes are you working on? Master's degrees, doctorate degrees? What are you working on? And more than just playing football, more than just getting paid, because everybody doesn't make the big money. And the NIL deals are 4-year deals. So it might sound like a whole bunch of money, but you got to stay there all 4 years to get the money. And of course, we see the kids changing from team to team, trying to get better deals, but it all boils down to working and competing. My wife and I were talking about how do the Buffalo, Colorado players that left the team because of what they said was playing time or issues with Dion, whatever the issues were, how do they feel now that Dion is winning and the team is winning? It's like, you just got to come out there and work.
Yeah, and he's establishing a discipline and a tradition, and it is moving around the league how he operates, and he's building respect across the board. So they got to come in correct. They do have to come in correct. Mr. President, what you say about the state of college football?
I think it's at an all-time high. I think it's going to continue. It's going to continue to rise. I don't see anything hurting it. I really believe that it's a product that sells itself. People want to be excited about something. People want to rally around something. It makes people feel alive. And I mean, I know women who go to ball games. I don't even know who like sports. I'm like, yeah, I want to go to see the Texans game. It's so exciting. It's something. It's a product that sells itself. So I don't see it hitting a lull. It's going to always be an exciting product because you're going to always have athletic and talented players, talented coaches. And with that being said, you're going to have a talented sports. You're going to have a good product that's going to produce people wanting to watch it. It's going to produce the results that you want for it to be successful because of the product of itself. That's what it comes down to. So with that being said, hey, I'm excited about sports. I said the all-time high for me, and us having this sports show, it makes it even more heightened. So hey, I love it.
Brother Phil, FBS, what does that stand for? How does it work? Is that a new thing this year? Didn't they have some other thing before
FBS.
this? Huh?
I'm trying to figure. I'm not familiar with FBS.
Whatever
That's the level of
rating
college.
system, the rating system, and the bowl system that ties into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't really done a little research on that or not yet, but I do know the way the system is, the 12 teams that are going to be, eligible to play. And then, of course, the bowl games still carry a little weight, for us how the playoff system is set up. And then, of course, every team that's marginal wants to go to a bowl game, either for the New Year's Day or just for the holidays. That's the reward the kids get. Because, at those bowl games, you get goodie bags, you get memories, you get, connections and people you meet. And some guys draft stock go up by playing that extra game. And then, of course, nowadays, now I don't understand this. Some guys don't play. They sit out. They say, hey, I'm going to work out for the combine so I can be ready. But like Darryl said earlier, these guys got to make better selections for as their academics and, their potential talent being sold, basically, what it is to the school. And then being in reward for us, what do I get out of the deal besides giving the school the money that they're going to make off of me? And just look, right before we came on, I was getting ready to watch Juju. I keep telling y'all, the women's college basketball game is off the chain fun to watch for me, because I noticed that a lot of them have such a skill set that, they didn't get that overnight. They had been working at that since they were little girls. Just like I remember as a little boy playing ball, and you go play at other places and you see guys just as good as you are, if not better, and you start thinking, hey, what am I going to do? So the state of college ball, high school ball, they all feed into each other. They make each other better, and we just got to keep watching sports, man. It's gonna be great. It's college, and everybody that's involved, has to give their best effort. And like Darryl said, also, the academic part still never goes away. They can call it what they want, but they have to be ready to deal with that part of it too.
Following up on the point of Juju, I think what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese did, they highlighted and made it much more interesting to watch. And Juju was there last year, and so people caught attention of her last year, but now taking it to a new level, even though I think she lost to Notre Dame. They lost to Notre Dame.
They did.
The girl at Connecticut also, Paige Bucher, is the name. She's highlighted. She's expected to go in the top range of the draft and so forth. And the state of basketball, women's basketball, is getting on a higher plane. It's still not at the NBA, and it might never be, but it is holding its own, and it is starting to catch the attention, maybe to the point where they're selling out the stadiums. What do you say about that, Jeff?
Hey, I think it's at an all-time high right now. I think that as long as you have the talent, you're going to have interest. People are going to always want to watch talented players. And Juju got it going on. And it's like last season, your girl, Caitlin Clark, she had it going on. Angel Reese had it going on. So those girls, when you see that, they're going to pique your interest. They're going to make you want to watch their game, just like the WNBA this season. I watched the WNBA this season more than I have in many years, probably always going back to maybe the second year after we lost Cooper, when Cooper retired. Like maybe 2001 or somewhere up in there. I think I watched the WNBA all the way through 2003, and then I started losing interest. But my interest in the WNBA now is now where it was back then when we had the Comets. So the product is there. As long as you have talent, you're gonna have the product you want, and it's gonna pique the interest, and it's gonna get even bigger because now the endorsement is gonna go up, and the girl's gonna work even harder, and you're gonna see even better product, and you're gonna see even better ratings. So it's gonna be more money, just more money, more money, money, and they deserve it. And you have to understand they're looking at a lockout. They're looking at a lockout. They don't have a contract. They don't have a collective bargaining agreement right now. So they're gonna have to figure it out. And the women, they want to be paid. I understand. The women want to be shown the money. Hey, you've shown the men the money. You've given them all this money. It's time for the women to get paid. So pay us.
I'll say, if they're smart, they will work to settle the collective bargaining agreement as soon as possible if they're smart, as well as set up OnlyFans accounts, but that's a whole nother thing. Darryl, what you say? What you say about the WNBA? But veer into the Rockets as we talk about. Do you understand the in-season tournament? What you say?
I do not understand it, and I don't like those gray floors. It makes, for me, it's hard to watch. It's
I like
hard to
the gray
watch.
floor. The San Antonio Spurs floor. Oh, that was beautiful. That silver floor, that was beautiful. I like the Rockets floor too. Oh, did you see the Celtics floor? Oh man, that was beautiful.
It
Wow.
takes all opinions to make the world go round.
I'm telling you. But I like the in-season tournament. It creates excitement. You know, that's what it was done for. It was done to create excitement. You know,
I think they should tie it into the Christmas games and started in Thanksgiving, tied into the Christmas games, and like at the end of the year, New Year's, that be the championship of the in-season tournament. I think that's where they need to go. What do you say about how the Rockets are performing, Darryl?
I haven't really kept up with the Rockets just yet. I think they should do pretty good though from some of the highlights I've seen.
They're 14-6,
Okay.
which is third best in the West, Jeff.
Second
best in
best.
the West.
Yep.
Let me ask Jeff. You have mentioned several times about trades with the Rockets, and you say you think they're going to make a trade. I think that would be the most insane thing myself. That's like when Lenny Wilkens traded Dominique Wilkins and they were in first place. Now, he did trade him for Danny Manning, but it took all the steam out of where they were going at the time. And I think even a trade for Giannis, I would not do, except if it's Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Deshaun Tate, and maybe one or two and a number one pick. But other than that, I would not trade any of my main players for even Giannis. Go ahead, Jeff.
You just got to saying you wouldn't trade for Giannis, and then you just proposed a trade.
Okay, I wouldn't trade Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, even Dylan Brooks, my main players. Now, Jabari is starting to play a little bit better. So I wouldn't make a trade, but if I was, that's the only one I might do because Giannis can replace Jabari. And that's the only one I would do. But I wouldn't do that. I'm going to give this young brother a chance and he can develop. He's only 20, 21 years old, 20 years old, something like that. And Giannis would maybe change the chemistry too much. But
any trade for Giannis, that type of contract, you're going to give up several players. Or at the very least, you're going to give up Van Fleet or you're going to give up Dylan Brooks because you have to understand, you have to be within 25% of the contracts. The aggregate total of contracts that you send out have to be within 25% of the aggregate contracts that you bring in. So you have to understand, if Giannis' contract is $50 million, then you have to send them $40 million in salary. So you can't send them a bunch of 2 and 3 year players because they don't make enough money unless you're going to send them 5
you answer the question yourself. I wouldn't trade for Giannis unless I could do that trade.
Okay,
anybody
then
else got to comment on that.
You won't be trading for Giannis then. They're not going to take that.
Okay. However, the Milwaukee Bucks started out like 4-9, but they have won. I think they're 10-9 now, and they have moving up a great deal in the East. So Rivers has turned them around, and they are playing now. And the East is not as top as the West. However, it a lot of times evens out, and they're doing better. But they only got about 5 or 6 teams over 500, if that many. So as you all were talking about last week, that we should take away the East and West designation. I still disagree with that for the reasons I said last week, which is it kind of balances out. Any
Well, I
other
disagree.
comments on the NBA?
Well, okay, I do disagree. Just real quick, I disagree with you on that. I think that would be a good idea as far as the playoff format is to go with the 16 best teams as opposed to over in the East. Over in the West, you got 12 good teams and only 8 of them qualify for the playoffs. Then over the East, you got 4 good teams, but 8 of them qualify for the playoffs because by default. So no, I like that idea of going with the 16 best teams and let them qualify for the playoffs, regardless of conference. So I like that idea.
I don't. And if you look at the history of the NBA, look at who has won the championships is Boston, Detroit, Chicago, and it all evens out. Yes, the Lakers, Denver have won it, the Rockets, but it all evens out in the end. So, and there's some tradition as well as geographical kind of promotion, I would say.
And I disagree. And I disagree with that. You said all evens out in the end. I disagree with that. It does not, because of the teams over in the East that make it all the way to the finals. They've had an easier time getting there because they're going against wicked competition. Whereas the teams over in the West, whereas the teams over in the West, hold on. It was the teams over in the West from round 1, they're going up against quality teams because you got 10, 12 good teams over in the West. So they're going against quality teams in round 1, whereas the teams over in the East, the top 1 or 2 or 3 seeds, they're going against sorry teams. So they can pretty much rest their players and not have to go all out because they have an easier schedule to get all the way to the finals. So I disagree with it being all balanced out. That's not.
Oh, okay, we're not going to agree on this. I disagree with you. You disagree with me. Phil, as always, try to settle the difference.
Okay, since 2016, okay, the West has won what? 5 championships and the East has won 4. I mean, it does even out.
No,
Yes, it does. Okay,
I would have to sit down with you guys. I would have to sit down with you guys one-on-one and explain to you that
no, you don't have to sit down and explain anything. The facts are the fact. Okay,
you
wanted people to listen when you spoke. Why don't you use your 2 ears and listen now? The facts are the facts. Go back and look at the facts. It's not like the West went on a 10-year win streak like the Celtics did in the 50s and won 10 championships and the East didn't. The bottom line is the NBA is a parity league. You're not going to have somebody win 5 championships in a row. Golden State, with the same group of guys they got now, is not going to see that 5th championship no time soon. They always knocking on the door. It ain't happening because other teams are on the East are coming up. Boston took a while to get that championship they just got.
You're missing my point. Both of you missing my point.
No. You are specific because you feel like you are right and adamant regardless, Jeff. But this is one particular case. The facts are the facts. Since 2016, it hasn't been all the West winning championship. It's been balanced. That's a fact.
It still has nothing to do with.
Okay, look, Jeff. If you give other people a chance to make their point, everything can be settled.
I did.
No. You're being stubborn, and that's okay. But
I'm just being steadfast with my point. That's all. I'm not being stubborn.
I stated facts. I'm
you
not
steadfast as well. We all
speculation.
Yeah, let me finish this point. Then
okay. What I will give him this: he's basically saying they should reseed the teams once the playoffs start. Okay, that's not an issue. That's basically what happens once you start playing anyway. You are seeded on how you play during the regular season. And somebody the other day said they don't believe that you are what your record says you are. Well, I still believe that. Because why don't you win the games you're supposed to win and not lose the games you're not supposed to lose? That's just my opinion. But I'm respecting your opinion. I'm not having a problem with it. It's cool. They can flip a coin and do whatever they want to do. But the fact still remains since 2016, the last 9 or 10 championships, it's been 5 and 4 West, maybe. That's it. I mean, how does that not have balance?
Where do you come down, Darryl?
My question to Jeff is, how would you balance it? I mean, just if we feel like the West is stronger than the East, why is that? Why can't the ownership
how would they balance it?
Why can't the East side build better teams?
Okay. You say how could they balance it? With the idea that I just discussed, them going with the 16 best teams as opposed to you got 12 really good teams over in the West and 4 in the East. So you're going to go with the top 16 teams, regardless of conference, and then those 16 teams will compete in the playoffs, regardless of conference.
And see, I disagree with that because if you take, we have conferences in every league: football, basketball, college, high school, everything. And to me, the key is how do you just build a better team wherever you're located?
Now remember, this is only for the postseason.
Versus we're gonna move you around because you're weak, or move you around because you're strong. It's like Carl made mention of geographical areas, which makes sense. But just why is the East weak?
It's just not enough good teams in the East. There are more good teams in the West. Basically,
that's not hasn't always been.
It's
not that
been.
way every year either. It's that way temporarily. It does happen. But I've seen times when the East is beating up on the West. Okay,
remember this. This is not Jeff Walker's idea. This is the NBA's idea. So I want you to make sure you guys understand.
No, that's some of the NBA. That's some of the. You can't say it's the NBA's idea. That's some people in the NBA have said that. Other people say no.
No, this is what the NBA is discussing that they're going to do.
The NBA did not say that. That was one aspect, one idea that they gave.
Okay.
And then they gave the other idea. They said they would move Minnesota to the East and put 2 teams in the West. That was an ideal also. They was going to put Las Vegas.
They had more than one idea. They had more than one idea.
Huh?
They have had more than one idea.
Yeah, they got more than one idea.
Let's move on.
Okay. Tell me this. Who is so far the most valuable player so far? The most improved player? The most improved team in the NBA? I know it's early. We had 18 games, but I would say still Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the most valuable right now. Most improved, I would like Zach Edey is doing good as far as rookie of the year. He's doing good. I'm not sure about most improved yet, but things are interesting. Oklahoma City, despite losing Chet Holmgren I think he's gonna be out another month, they are still one of the top teams, and now Isaiah Hartenstein is back, and they are playing at the top level. But Golden State, surprisingly, is at the top up there also. And they've lost Steph Curry for a number of games. And nobody picked them to be at the top, especially since they got rid of Clay. But Clay has not, he's done so-so with the Mavericks and hasn't, just took over and took them to the next level. So what other surprises have you seen, Jeff, and what other things stand out to you?
Well, the biggest disappointment right now is New Orleans. They just look like they're not competing at all. I don't know if they're competing for that guy Cooper Flag. I don't know, but they look like they're just not competing. The T-Wolves, I'm surprised. The T-Wolves are sitting at 8-10. I thought they would have been doing better. I mean, they went all the way to the Western Conference Finals last season, and they sitting at 8-10 right now. So I'm really
told
surprised.
Y'all that.
Yeah. And the Suns, I thought the Suns would be better than they are. And they now finally turned it around a little bit, but they're still sitting at 10-8. I thought they would be better than what they are. And then over in the East, the Bucks, they one of the biggest disappointments, but now in the last week, they're now finally turning it around. The Sixers right now, 3-14. Man, that's horrible. Wow. They got a lot of problems over there. They got a lot of talent when they got everybody on the floor. But the problem is getting everybody on the floor. When Embiid in and out of the lineup, and you got Paul George, he's in and out, he's back out again. So they got a lot of issues over there, a lot of internal issues over there. It goes to show you it's not just always about talent. You have to have cohesiveness. You have to have cooperation. You have to have teamwork. You got to come together and create some continuity. And right now, the team doesn't have any continuity at all. So as a result, they're struggling.
I would trade Zion. I would trade Joel Embiid if I could. Anybody else want to talk about NBA highlights and different things happening in the NBA? And if you want to, comment on the trades. Phil, what you say?
Well, injuries are still a big part of what's going on in the NBA too. I mean, that's one reason Philly is playing so bad. And that general manager is a little controversial for me, Darrly Malloy. I mean, you got to look at people making decisions on who's on the floor, who's coaching the team. you know, the structure of what we're trying to do for us draft picks. The team that's done the best job for me is Oklahoma City with that, because they're set up for a long time to come. Denver used their opportunity when it came, and they capitalized. I mean, they didn't have a lot of superstars, but they still were able to keep their organization together and make guys play. They got the right coach for a right price. I mean, you know, now they're playing paper, but that happens in everything. Same thing we talked about earlier about the Rockets. I've never said anything about trading anybody. They got the coach they finally wanted. They got the right nucleus of what they wanted. What's going to happen? They're going to have to get rid of some guys anyway when the rookie contracts expire.
Right.
You're not going to be able to keep them all, but you better win while you can, and then decide who you want to keep. I've had this conversation not so much with you guys, but with some other guys about Seguin. I went to some games his rookie year, and nobody could tell me right then and there he was not going to be doing what he's doing now. And that's just based on being around basketball players a lot. And, you know, Jalen Green, they giving him the blues a little bit about Jabari, but those guys are young. They needed somebody to come in and say, hey, son, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. The coach they had before couldn't do that, but the coach they got now can. And he has the confidence of the general manager, the owner. So he's not afraid of them, you know, giving him the blues. He's giving them the blues. I don't like how they treated Cam Whitmore, but I don't know. I've never been in practice. I don't know why, whatever, but I like the kid, but for whatever reason, hey. And then, of course, Doc Rivers, come on. Doc is a coach. He can weather some storms better than most coaches. I'm not surprised Milwaukee's making a comeback, but I was disappointed they got to where they are. But the team I worry about most, though, is Philly. I don't see them coming back at all. And Phoenix had injuries. They're going to be okay. They got some good players over there. They stay healthy, you know, that's how it goes.
Hey, Phil, if Philly
Yes,
gets Embiid back and a healthy Paul George, you don't think they can turn it around?
Yeah, they can be okay, but I mean, this bad start is a whole big deal to dig out of. And I mean, their coach, Nick Nurse, I mean, he's not known to be one of those coaches that really inspire and lead. I mean, he had a good team in Toronto, but those guys led on the floor. So I do think if they stay healthy, they'll be tough to deal with, but they don't have a lot of depth either. That's why they're losing, besides the injuries. Why those guys out, they don't have anybody stepping in doing anything.
I just want
Phil, remember, hey, hold on, Phil, remember, they play over in the East. So even though Milwaukee's sitting at 3-14, they're only about 5 games out of a playoff.
I understand.
Yeah.
But look at Cleveland. That's a huge gap.
Oh, yeah. That's huge. I agree.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about the bottom feeders. We're talking about the bottom feeders that it doesn't matter, like you said in the East, whether they get in by default or whether they do. If they're healthy, you don't want to play them.
I just want to say this. Embiid, they said he didn't want to play back-to-backs. You know, he wanted to take an awful lot of time. And that doesn't, and he was called out in a players only meeting by the second best player or best player, Maxey.
Yeah.
And that kind of tension is kind of hard to overcome. So I would consider trading him. Darryl, would you consider trading that player, even though he's all of this and all of that?
I think when you have issues in the locker room, you should consider trading people. I would consider trading. You know, it's almost where now if it's 1-to-1, but if it's like 3 guys against one, like, okay, we don't like him versus I don't like him, or we're not getting along with him, then that makes sense. Because I mean, chemistry is so important.
Very much so.
So I got a question. What about Cleveland? Are you guys surprised by Cleveland's success?
Go ahead, Phil.
Go ahead.
I am not. They always had the talent. It's about the chemistry. And this is, what's the forward's name?
Mitchell.
What's the power forward name, Phil? For
Mitchell.
Come on, Mobley. You know
Mobley?
Yeah, Mobley.
Mobley's
This
a
is
center.
his 3rd year, and he's starting to develop an NBA persona.
Yeah.
And he's holding it down.
Jalen Green.
And Jared Allen is playing real good. And then
Yeah.
you got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. So they always had the talent. It's just a matter of the chemistry. And maybe that new coach, Kenny Atkinson, is kind of putting that chemistry together and
Coach of the year.
doing pretty good. However, the old coach they
I think
had.
they lost today too, though.
Say again?
I think
Oh,
they
they played
lost
today?
today too.
They played today?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, they lost to Atlanta again.
Okay.
And you know, some teams have your number. That's the second time out of 3 losses, they have 2 of them to Atlanta. So and that's the NBA. That's the way things go. And you know, like the Rockets, they had the Bucks beat. They blew out Portland, but the very next game they lost to Portland. So it's an up, a down thing. Nothing is in stone. It's the NBA. On a given night, those other players could beat you because they're professionals also.
I think Boston is going to end up being the best team in the East as far as record-wise. Right now, they're number 2 spot, but I think they're going to overtake Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's going to keep this. I don't think they're going to be steady all the way throughout the season playing at this level. I think Boston will eventually be the number 1 team in the East.
Maybe so, but I believe they're going to at least win 55 games. That's my opinion. I think the Rockets going to win 51 games, which is what I said previously. I think they are that good. I didn't know that they were going to go past Denver as far as record. Dallas, I had picked them 6th, but right now, Jeff, you say they 2 in the West?
They're number 2 in the West.
Yeah,
they just moved ahead of the Warriors.
They had the talent. They just had to develop their chemistry and that fight. A lot of that fight comes from Dylan Brooks. I see his value. He's shooting better this year also. He is shooting better. But
as Van Fleet goes, Fred Van Fleet, so does the Rockets. When he plays well, the Rockets play well.
Well, so that's why they're up there, because he's been playing well this year. He's been doing a great job. So, but you can see the talent now. Maybe they got too much to have the minutes to spare around, and a good player like Cam Whitmore. Now, I agree, we don't know what he has done in the locker room or did he do something, but it seemed like he should have an opportunity to play a little bit.
The key comes down, Paul, the key with that is this here. The Rockets normally play roughly a 9-man rotation, and Cam is like the 10th guy. So he's like the odd man out. So instead of him sitting over on the bench and just allowing his skills to erode, they send him over in the G League and let him, work on his game. And that's what's going on right now.
Well, I didn't necessarily agree that he played only 9 in back-to-back game against Philly, and I thought he should have, but they won. They won, so who am I to say anything? But if I was the coach, I would have spread that out a little bit, because the game before, Fred VanVleet played 45 minutes, and then he played 40 minutes again in back-to-back games. I might not have done that, but who am I to say, hey,
This is what I'm hearing the reason why he's not playing. He's not playing because they say that when he's in the game, he stops the ball movement. He holds the ball. It's almost like a black hole. When he gets the ball, it doesn't move any further. It's either he got to shoot it or whatever. He doesn't move the ball. He doesn't play well as far as a team concept game. And that's what they're having a problem.
That's a coaching problem, not a talent problem.
Okay.
That's a coaching problem. Trust me. That's not a talent problem. He can be coached to do that. I just think there's not a gulf in his talent between the other 8 guys and him. Different if it was like that. It's that minuscule. I mean, that dude is that good, man. They got to figure out a way to do it or trade him, get something for him, because he needs to
I think he will. I think he will eventually be traded by the deadline.
I think it's going to be the biggest mistake they made in a long time, too.
I think you're going to see a situation.
Of all the good decisions they've made, this won't be one. It's not one right now, in my opinion.
Okay. I really thought he was going to have a good season. I mean, outstanding summer league, and then he played well in the.
Let somebody get hurt, and then they don't have him. Watch what happens. That's what happened last year with Eason. They didn't have nobody to replace him. They went down.
They did.
So if they
because
keep him around,
is the biggest difference. East is the biggest difference in the Rockets. Let's think about it. The only thing the Rockets did in the offseason to improve themselves was to draft Reed Shepherd, number 3, and he's doing nothing. That was a wasted pick so far. That's been a wasted pick because he has done nothing. Then you picked up Steven Adams. Well, Steven Adams, he's played, 4 or 5 games? I mean, he very seldom plays. And so the only thing that you have, you've added is Tara Eason, because he missed most of the season last season. But he's the difference. He and then Amon Thompson,
But he
those two
played good
guys there.
last year too, though.
The
Thompson
but
played good.
yeah, but he's
Thompson
playing
played
better
good
now.
last year.
He's playing better now. His game is maturing. He's
Of
better now.
course.
And I
You
think
know, from
Huh?
that's the best thing about being a rookie, you go to a second-year player. So they always
Yeah.
said about college players. Best thing about a freshman, he becomes a sophomore. So
Yeah.
that's a natural progression. But I'm just saying
exactly.
the coaching aspect, it is definitely something between him and the coach. I don't know that because I haven't seen it. Don't know it. That's just my opinion from watching it. You just can't tell me Eason is that much better than he is good. But this dude can do some things some other guys can't do. But he'll find a way. And the NBA is a place for him. Trust me.
You gotta realize Easton is what, 23, Cam is 20. Their
Understand.
mind, the
Mhm.
minds, the way they process the game are completely different. There's a
Okay.
major
And it's the
It's a
way you're
tough-
coached too. It's the way
it's
you're
tough.
coached and the way you respond to coaching. Because like you said earlier, we were just joking, who would have played? Malone would have had his picks. Doesn't mean that was the right pick. Okay? Coaches pick favorites too. And I know that for a fact, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, what have you. But you have to be willing to work, like Darryl said. You can't go home and say, is that guy really better than me? No, he's not. And I'm going to prove it. And that's how you do it. In practice, the coach still may not play. But in the game, when it shows like Cam has done, when he does have opportunity, holding the ball, slowing the ball, whatever the case may be, the results are there. I mean, that's facts. I like facts better than speculation.
Well, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. It's gonna be interesting. But the Rockets are 14-6 now, and they can keep shaping it and finish high in the West. And we'll see what's gonna happen in the playoffs. They starting to live up to their potential, which is a good thing. Anything else about the
Tomorrow's
NBA,
game.
Jeff?
Tomorrow's game, Houston, the Rockets versus not tomorrow. That is Sunday. That's gonna be a pivotal game because OKC is the number 1 seed and the Rockets are the number 2 seed in the West. That's gonna be a key because they have not played well against OKC. They don't match up well against OKC. So that game will tell me a lot about where they are as a team because they don't play well against OKC.
They only played this year one time, though, right?
Yeah, I know, but they dominated. They dominated Houston. They dominated.
Did. Last year,
They
the
dominated
Rockets
us last year
played.
too.
This year, they seem to have a different scheme, as well as Jalen Williams is taking it to a higher level. He's averaging 22, and we already know about Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see. And but they are a tough team, and they progress it every year. They're getting better and better every year.
They are.
They were already number 1 last year. They number 1 this year, and now they got a big man in the middle, as well as the progression of Chet Holmgren. So we'll see.
Their general manager.
NBA,
I give him general
Darryl, you got
manager.
anything?
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Anything else about the NBA, Darryl? You have anything?
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Darren.
I'm looking forward to the Clippers giving James Harden to the Lakers.
Why you think so?
I think, the Clippers are going to get to the point where they say, okay, let's shut it down. Let's get rid of some people. Let's rebuild.
Darryl, they got a winning record.
For now.
Clippers 11-7. The Clippers are 11-7.
Yeah, which is pretty good for right now.
Number 6 in the West.
And he's carrying them.
He's carrying them.
And he doesn't have that much help. I don't know if Kawhi will even play again, but he's going back to kind of an all-star level.
Do you think he'll be pleased with that? Do you think eventually he'll get to the point of having an attitude and just like, I'm tired of carrying you guys, and okay, let's get rid of him?
I think that he is at a level where he knows this is his last 3 or 2 good years, and he's from LA. He's going to try to do the best he can. And I believe he wants to finish his career there. And he's going to, I still don't agree with him being one of the top 75, but he's doing good, about as well as he can. And I don't believe they're going to trade him.
Cole,
Now,
you don't think James Harden should be one of the top 75?
No.
Okay.
Because they had to take too many players off of the list that had established themselves, Bernard King, Alex English, JoJo White even. They took them off to add these guys on who are good, but I don't think Damian Lillard should have surpassed necessarily JoJo White, or Carmelo Anthony shouldn't have surpassed Alex English. I just don't think so. Not unless they have produced a culture of winning on their team. And, you know, Robert Horry could be on there over some of those guys. That's my opinion.
What? Robert Horry?
Robert Horry has won 7 championships.
That don't mean anything. You're on the right teams. You're on the right teams at the right time.
At the right
Sometimes
time.
it's good to be in the right place at the right time.
Yes,
right place,
I agree. I'm not saying Robert Horry should be on there. He only started with the Rockets. But something should be said about winning. You're on a team that win. How much did you contribute? Just because you were a high scorer like Carmelo Anthony, nothing shows that he produced an environment of winning. That's my opinion. Nothing has shown that Damian Lillard has produced an environment of winning.
Okay.
Where JoJo White did.
Okay, quick question. So a guy like Carmelo Anthony, you say he did produce a element of winning or whatever it was. You saying a guy like Robert Horry, who won 7 championships, should be on that top 75 team, and not a guy like Carmelo Anthony?
No, I didn't say specifically Robert Horry. I was giving the example. He should get consideration just as much as Carmelo Anthony. I am not. I'd have to go through the list to tell you each one, which I did do on the website before, and I have to pull that up, or you can pull it up, because I actually said who should not be on there and who should be on there. And I gave some reasons, but, you know, and that's my subjective opinion, but I think I can have some basis of an argument. You know, I mean, everybody got an opinion. All they had who put those 75 together were an opinion, because they can't point to anything as to why Carmelo is there besides Alex English. Neither one of them won a championship. So why you got Carmelo there over Alex English?
So which is more important, the stats or the rings?
That is subjective. That is subjective. You got to go through the careers and look at them. What did they bring to the game? Did they get to a high level as far as championship? As far as getting to the finals, what did they produce to their team? It's a whole lot of things, but I can't say one thing. It has to be in a way subjective. Phil, I see you. Tell me.
This is funny because years ago, when they first came out, the first 50, a guy who I loved, Bill Walton, okay? Great high school career, great college career, real decent pro career, believe it or not. He missed half his career with injuries. But if you go back and look at a guy out of Syracuse named Ronnie Cycling, who played center also, his stats is better than Bill Walton's. He didn't win a championship in college or the pros, but his college stats, his pro stats are very similar. But of course, Bill Walton got the name, the fame, all of that. So it's subjective to how you really want to put. You could take some people out, you could put some people on. I kind of got this idea in my head that you don't do the top 75 all time. You do the top 75 of the first 50 years of the league, and then you do the top 75 of the last 25 years. You get a whole different brand of players because you can't compete. I'm one of those people again. I will not compare generational players. But here's something that's to think about, though. People always go with Jordan and LeBron. Jordan had a certain amount of 30-point games, maybe 500 or something like that. It's almost 600. He's still leading. And LeBron just not feeling ready to pass him. And he had 8-10 years more to play with a whole different style of ball. So that's why I don't like generational comparisons. I mean, the ultimate winner, Bill Russell. That man won championship almost every year he played in the league. But of course, Wilt had all the stats, only a couple championships. You pick them how you want them. I mean, if I was seeing them two guys in front of me and you and I picking the team, I'm going to give you the first pick. I'm taking the other guy.
Now you have to
That's a
understand
good
that
team.
Bill played during a time when there was only about 8 to 10 teams in the whole league.
I don't care how you cut it.
I'm just
Russell,
arguing it.
okay, here's my opinion on Bill Russell. Look what he did in high school, won. Look what he did in college, won. Look what he did in the pros, won. I mean, come on. I mean, what are we doing here?
I'm just saying it was easier back then to win 11 and 13 years.
Will Chamberlain was there too. Will Chamberlain was there too. He got all them 100 points and stuff against little bitty guys.
True.
Okay, but he's still Will Chamberlain.
I agree.
So that's why I'm not comparing generational talent. He did what he's supposed to do at his time better than anybody else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm gonna use me for an example. I leave Miller. Ain't nobody at Johnston gonna play before me. Wasn't nobody gonna play before. Maybe not. I might have had a harder time somewhere else. But that's the situation. You go the way you know. And that was basketball. That was basketball. That's the way you play. Same thing when I got to Austin. I did go there, but I looked and saw the climate, and I'm saying I don't want to be a part of that politics. I'm not a politician. I like to play ball. But I also learned a whole lot more at Johnson. I've never been challenged academically like that before. So there's pros and cons to everything you do. There's consequences for every decision you make. But these picks on who's the greatest, you got an opinion. Darryl got an opinion. Carl got an opinion. I got an opinion. That's all it is. There's some facts involved, but still opinions.
And whatever generation you play in, that was a competition at that time, and you play against who you play. And so if you beat the best of your generation, that says something.
That says something.
I mean, you can't say that player couldn't have competed today, but our bodies become different also over time. You know, better nutrition and different things. So, hey, you give them the credit for the time they played. That's what I
agree.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are toward the end of our show, but I want to ask Darryl, did you watch the Tyson-Jake Paul fight? What did you think?
I did not watch the fight. I thought it was pure entertainment, not boxing.
In my opinion, Mike Tyson tried. He's a 58-year-old man. It's almost like me trying to fight Clarissa Shields, but I think I could still take her though. But I saw her in a bathing suit. If I just think about that, it'd be kind of difficult. I might get knocked out then.
But if Tyson had a contract that said he couldn't do uppercuts, he couldn't hit the guy a certain way, how could he win?
Yeah.
And that he had to go the whole round to get all of his money.
And that was his signature punch right there.
So, yeah, he always, what was it? He punch forward, then come with an uppercut with the same hand. I mean, yeah, you take that away, you're taking a whole bunch away.
Right.
I saw on several occasions, I saw Tyson pulling his punches. That was all for show.
I didn't see that. I saw him trying. He was not fast enough to hit the man. That's what I saw.
I watched it with experts, and we saw many times.
You always saying that.
No, I can show it to you. I got the highlights.
That doesn't mean that you are right. You're always trying to use some leverage to say you right.
Well, so are you. We all do.
No,
we use information.
I'm using my opinion also.
Okay.
It doesn't mean I'm right, but it doesn't mean you're right just because you watch.
I didn't invalidate your opinion.
Okay.
I didn't invalidate your opinion. I just stated mine. I just stated mine. Hey, I just stated mine.
Dale, we do this all the time. Our whole history of having the show, we always do this. But it's okay. We've gotten to a cool place though. So I hear that Tyson Fury is taking it more serious this time. I think he's down to about 270. And because I saw that boy Usyk against what's the guy Joshua, Anthony Joshua. He beat him twice. and he has skill, and you can't underestimate him. What do you say about boxing in the heavyweight area specifically? And are you familiar with any of the other boxing realms, Brother Darrell?
I think, the guys aren't training like they used to. I mean, I don't think there's parity in boxing that the guys, win today and lose tomorrow, win today, lose tomorrow. They're not training the way they used to. They don't take it as serious as they used to. I think that, it's all about getting in there and getting the money. And so boxing isn't what it used to be for me. And so I'm not, and especially with the heavyweights. I'm used to guys looking like they're in shape. You're talking about Tyson Fury and just, I don't see the dedication to the sport.
Yeah, Joshua, he's
Joshua,
been knocked down so many times.
Right.
Well, at least he looked the part. He looked the part.
He looks the part.
He looks the part.
Yeah.
Just can't take a lick.
No, last job.
Wilder, he never looked like he had the real boxing skill. He just had that knockout punch. And somebody with some real boxing skill who can handle this punch, which Tyson Fury at the time.
Fury was a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that was never a good matchup. He could beat everybody else, but Fury was just too big, too strong, and just had his number, knew how to keep him at bay with that long reach, and he hit him hard enough. He wasn't getting hit like that either.
See, Fury,
he was a little scared. He was a little scared of Fury, to be honest.
To be honest, what the problem was with Fury is that he's so big. The guy's like 6'9".
Yeah.
And by the time the fight started, he's up to about 285. And then Wilder's like 225, 230 at the most, and he leans on you. So he's leaning on you most of the fight. He's leaning on you. When you know when someone's leaning on you like that with all that weight, that tires you up. And so what did Vincent Boyd say? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. You get so tired, you can't even hold your fist up because you're so tired because this 280-pounder is leaning on you. So that was just a bad matchup. Like Phil said, that was a bad matchup for him to fight that guy. And he hasn't been the same since losing those two fights to him. He hasn't been the same. So now everybody knocked him. That's why I saw he got knocked out by somebody else.
Him and Joshua. It's always going to be somebody coming up, though. Even though the heavyweight division hasn't built up like it used to, somebody's going to come along and put some highlight back in that division. We'll see coming up. Phil, what are in other divisions? What are some of the fighters as well as maybe matchups about to happen?
Well, I just hope Stevenson and Tank Davis get in there, man. Tank and Stevenson, the guy from New Jersey, they're the lightweights. I think there's a division of about maybe 10 pounds between them, but I don't think he really want to get in there with Tank. He's a slick escape artist with no power, and Tank is like, come get it. I'm giving it all you got. And so when them two get in the ring, that's going to be a big, big fight if it happens. But the lighter weights always got a lot of guys out there. Then you got the other guy, Telefimo, talking trash, between welterweights and lightweights. Then, of course, you got Crawford out there trying to beg a fight with the Spanish guy that's really, really good,
Canelo.
And that's a big difference in weight. That's a big difference in weight, but I just think nothing is impossible. I mean, he could get in there, but everybody want to see that fight. And that's the only fight he's willing to take because they got behind him begging to beat him up. That ain't gonna happen. So boxing is just kind of tailed off, like Darrell said. It's not the same, but the smaller weights at least get in there from time to time and give you some excitement. The heavyweights and then light heavyweights, you don't even hear about them. Middleweights, so. But the lighter weights are keeping it going, Well,
Phil, who you got? Who you got between Crawford and Alvarez?
Oh, Crawford.
Oh, you got Crawford beating Alvarez.
I think you get him on points. He's not gonna knock him out if he don't get knocked out, because like
That's
I say,
what I'm thinking.
I'm just saying. But I think if the fight goes and they both fight their skill set, Floyd then gave him a template how to. They're not the same, but I chance was Crawford got some nice skill set. He's a little older, But you know, Canelo got the power. It don't take but one punch to finish him.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
Crawford
That's
don't
what I'm
get hit
afraid
like
of.
that often. But Crawford don't get hit like that. But the bottom line is Crawford want that money, bro.
Exactly.
Crawford want that money. He's never had a big payday like that. And Canelo
Right.
don't really want to fight him. So
Right.
We are at the end of our show, but I want to end it up talking about this. I think it's AI put out a top 10 athletes of all time. Jeff, do you remember the list? I know
Yeah.
he put,
Talked about it last Friday.
yeah, talk about it again. LeBron James was number 10.
Number 10.
I forgot some of the others, but what I wanted to say is the top 5 boxers of all time. I'm going to put Jack Johnson at number 1. And the reason is,
not a bad
reason
choice.
is because the era that he fought in and all that he had to encounter and deal with, Jack Johnson, and a lot of people don't know him, they had everything set up to beat him, every white guy that they could find to try to take him down.
That's who Muhammad Ali idolized, Jack Johnson. He said it.
Yeah, and you know, the only way that they could finally defeat him, I think they fought 25 rounds in the heat, and he was already like 38 years old. And he was one of the best of all time. I put Ali up there too, maybe 2 or 3. Tyson is up there. I got to put George up there, George Foreman also.
Got to, yeah.
And Joe Louis. He'd probably be number 4 or
Man,
so.
that's a tough list right there.
Anybody else got some differences with that?
Man.
Okay. Well, and that's an interesting thing.
You better put Rocky on there. Somebody gonna come after you. Rocky Marciano, you better put him on there.
No, that's right. Hey, Carl, don't forget about the Heisman watch.
About what?
Heisman, the Heisman.
The Heisman.
The Heisman. The Heisman
already
watch.
Oh, the Heisman.
It's over.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say. I got to give it to the boy Travis Hunter.
Okay.
What he has done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even see no competition. However, they say Cam Ward is very good.
Cam Ward is bad. That's a
And
bad
the kid
Ward.
from Boise State. The kid from Boise State finna break Barry Sanders record.
Ashton Jeanty? Yeah, the running back. Yeah.
I mean, they all should be at the New York deal. I mean, all 3 of them.
Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon, has had an outstanding year as well. But I think Travis should win it. I agree. But do you know Travis Hunter is not even up for the Jim Thorpe Award of the best defensive backs?
That was
Gonna win the Heisman. I wouldn't feel bad about that. He gonna win the Heisman.
He gonna win the Heisman.
As long as he win the Heisman, okay, then we'll be all right.
Yeah.
But still, how does he not be up for the Jim Thorpe Award?
That's Dion. People hating on Dion and that kid.
That's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say before we conclude, Jackie Robinson, in my opinion, should be considered the best athlete for what he accomplished in the era that he was in, as well as he played basketball. He played played everything.
He did everything at UCLA. He was a bad boy. Matter of fact, his era, UCLA had a bunch of bad boys playing sports.
Yeah, his brother Max Robinson played too and went to the Olympics.
Man, they had a bunch of bad boys at UCLA in that era. See, California was a lot more liberal than the South back then.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Well, this is our 32nd episode of Sportstake Live, and we're going to continue. We got back on track. We had skipped a week, and we got back on track, and we'll have the next one, I believe, on the 13th. So we come back on the 13th, and we will continue with Sportstake Live. And if you're on Facebook, check out our site, Sunny Side Sportstake with Jeff Walker, right there on Facebook. And we have a lot of good conversation all the time. And you're welcome to come out and join and share with us. All right, Mr. President, you have a final word?
Yeah, I have one final word. I want to hear about A-Rocket.
You got it. Guys, everybody out there, for the #1 moving company, Black-owned, Black-operated in the state of Texas, A-Rocket Moving and Storage. It is a viable moving company. We do commercial, residential, intrastate, and interstate. So give us a call. Office moves, residential, 3401 Quarter, Houston, Texas, in the heart of 3rd Ward. DeAndre Sam, second generation owner, one of the sponsors of this show. And we will continue to sponsor this show. And we pray and hope that you guys need and get the type of moving services you deserve by calling us. 713-748-6024. Ask for me, Philip Green, and I'll be happy to serve you. And we are definitely looking forward to hearing from some of you guys on this show. Please call us.
And ask for Phil and say you heard about it on the Sports Take show.
There you
Ask
go,
for
Carl.
Phil. All right. Jeff, give us a final word about what's upcoming and what's happening.
Well, what's upcoming? Our next show is on the 13th. I got some interesting guys lined up. I had a guy that wow, I'm still trying to get him back. He's kind of feeling depressed right now. We talked about him earlier, but I don't want to go into the details. But if I can get him, I really want to get him. You guys would be shocked if we can get him. But he's been kind of feeling down lately because they're not playing him. They keep sending him over to the G League. But I talked to him on social media, and he was all down for it. But I'm going to still try to see if I can get him on the show. We'll talk about it later. But other than that, hey, man, yeah, sports at all-time high. The Texans play this Sunday, and they're sitting at 75. So if they win, they go to 8-5. The Colts lose. Houston will be up 3 games with 4 games to play. So I think Houston can turn around. Yes, they've lost 3 of the last 4 games, but still, they still got a chance to turn it around, and I think they will turn it around. I have trust and faith in D'Amico Ryans and my boy C.J. Stroud. They will turn it around.
All right. I look forward to that. I hope so. I always want to root for the Texans. Darryl, you have anything you want to say?
I thank you for the invite. If you guys invite me again, I'll be more prepared. You guys have all the stats and everything, and I wasn't prepared for all that. But
hey, you did an
I
outstanding
enjoyed
job,
the
Darryl.
conversation though.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Darryl.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys.
All right.
I'm an A-Rocket fan, so I've used A-Rocket before, and it's a great company to work with.
Thank you, Darryl. I'll make
I
sure
can
they
vouch for them
get
as well.
DeAndre.
I can vouch for them as well. They used to come at my company all the time.
That's right. That's right. You guys
Outstanding
know.
job.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
guys. We'll see you on the 13th at Sunny-Five-Side Sports Take with the president, Jeff Walker, and the rest of the crew. We'll see you.
Thank you, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Darryl.
Send
All
the
right.
show